On the brief this morning, it was a night laced with deep emotions for the banking community who converged on Lagos Island to honor the life of late banker and co-founder of Access Holdings, Herbert Wigwe, who died in a plane crash with his wife, son, and the former NGX boss in the United States. Taking turns, top bankers, the political class, captains of industry, associates, colleagues, friends, classmates, and more, either physically or via message shared, moving tributes in a night tagged Herbert Wigwe, celebrating professional excellence. Some of those who delivered eulogy include the president, former president and leaders, AFDB president, CBN governor, governors of Lagos and Ogun State. Also present at the event were also the former Emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamido, chairman and vice chairman of Channels Media Group, Dr. John and Dr. Shala Momo, among others.
I met Herbert November 1991. We were both in the corporate bank. Very quickly, Herbert earned our respect. Herbert was one of the cleverest people in Guarantee Trust Bank. He was a credit analyst. But that's not what got him his respect, because we were all good analysts. But Herbert had what we all didn't have. He had the power to chase accounts, network, and deliver things that we all couldn't.
Herbert was a visionary role model, in fortitude, and a perfectionist who gave so much of himself. Is no longer here with us, but his transformative strides are seen all over our economic landscape and even in the heart of social milieu in Nigeria and the rest of the world.
As we come to terms with this loss, it is important that we celebrate the life of a man who dedicated himself to excellence and to service.
Our hearts are heavy, and we just have to try to encourage ourselves with the wonderful life and legacy he has. Herbert Wigwe was my friend. He was my younger brother. He was my aburo. And like all of us here, I feel deeply pained at his passing.
Herbert was one of the very first people that supported my ambition generously. And I said to him, brother, I'm not going there to disappoint you. I will leave, I will work, and I will come back to represent the friendship that we all have together. And he said, count me in. I will give you all the support that you require. Him and my other brother, Iboje, had given me the support from the very first day as the governor of the state.
He was extremely hardworking. He was daring. He was bold. He was diligent. He was intentional. He was consistent. He was compassionate. He was caring. He was reliable. He was dependable. Herbert was loyal to his friends. He was intelligent from every single account we've had this evening. Extremely cerebral. Herbert was way ahead of his time.
It was indeed a very difficult night for a lot of people, but they summoned the courage to be able to share their thoughts on the life and time of that great banker. Our prayers and our thoughts are with the family. Let's move on now. Some succor may be on the way for citizens following the federal government's decision to commence the distribution of grains nationwide. The distribution of the 42,000 metric tons of grains as approved by the president is expected to begin this week across the 36 states. In a post on X, the Minister of Agriculture, Senator Abubakar Kyari, says the initiative is to cushion the effect of the hardship occasioned by the economic policy of the government that has led to hunger protests in parts of the country. FCT Minister says looting a warehouse beheaded by criminals and was spearheaded by criminals, and before that announcement by the federal government, the Minister of State for the FCT believes those who invaded and looted the warehouse belonging to the FCT Department of Agriculture and Rural Development on 2 days ago were not driven by hunger. Mrs. Maria Mahmood maintains that hoodlums with criminal intent were responsible and did cut away with some food, machineries and destroy property, as she promises that they will be dealt with after 15 suspects were apprehended.
We are here due to the unfortunate incident that happened early hours of yesterday, where hoodlums attacked this very warehouse and packed everything that's here, including the grains, not only the food items that are here, including the roofings, windows, and even the gates of this space and offices were all attacked. And you can see the level of damage. There is nothing that is left here, including machineries that are used for processing of these grains. Due to the nature of the situation in the country, His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, gave us a mandate to distribute palliatives to all the area councils in FCT. And we were there. We did distribution about twice, and then about to do the third one where these trucks were here to offload these food items, and then they were attacked. Some were even injured. This is really a bad situation, and it's not something that we take it lightly. All those that are involved must be brought to book. When you have the warehouses, they are here just for you to keep what you have before you make the necessary arrangement. Not because you want to keep food away from the people. This food is for them. Nobody is going to take it away from them. But it has to be done in an according manner. But the way this thing happened actually is beyond hunger. This is a criminal act.
As the internal crisis within the All Progressives Congress in Benue State seemed far from abating, the executive of the party are demanding accountability from the governor, Hyacinth Alia. According to them, the governor should transparently utilize the security votes to protect the lives and property of the people instead of making what they consider political capital from herdsmen attacks as front to stifle political activities of the party road onto power. Those calls came from the state chairman of the party and others during an expanded stakeholders meeting held in Makurdi at the residence of the SGF, Senator George Akume.
I told His Excellency this one to his face. There is only one leader in this state. You cannot hide behind the so-called I am the governor and in APC governors are leaders.
You know what a state capital is? If you say that the state capital is no longer safe, you're apparently saying that the activity of the whole state should be closed down completely. That's what you are saying.
To the court where a former governor of Anambra State, Willie Obiano, is challenging the jurisdiction of the Federal High Court, Abuja, to hear the alleged fraud preferred against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. The EFCC had on January 24 arraigned the former governor on 9 charges bordering on alleged money laundering to the tune of 4 billion naira. At the day's proceedings, the counsel to the EFCC, Sylvana Steher, told the court he was ready for the commencement of trial and had 3 witnesses to present in court. But counsel for the defendant, Onyechi Ekpeazu, told the courts that he had filed a motion challenging the jurisdiction of the court to hear the matter. The trial judge, Justice Ian Ekwo, subsequently adjourned the matter to March 7, 2024 for continuation of trial. Now, the National Broadcasting Commission says a transparent process in its operation is in the works to positively influence how stakeholders see the commission. The Director General of the Commission, Mr. Charles Ibubu, made the promise during his visit to the chairman of Channels Media Group, Dr. John Momo, at our global headquarters here in Lagos. He affirms that certain changes in the code will be effected to enable a better business environment.
There are 2 sides to a coin. So on one hand, there's a perception that NBC has been overreaching in the application of sanctions. We've not. It's been said that we did not follow due process and all of that. And basically, the takeaway from it is that it has been an arbitrary process. Now, part of my training as a lawyer is the fact that we will definitely put together a transparent process. I don't want to get into particular details. It's still in the process, but I can assure you there's going to be a change in that perception. It's going to be transparent, so much so people will be allowed to speak, they'll be allowed to defend themselves. The issues will be analyzed based on the code. We're going to have a code review where all inputs will be taken in, and that would address that perception. Now, on the other side of it, it's sort of strange you have a policeman who cannot even issue a fine, if you agree with me. So, but we believe the way to go first is to address the perception. Of course, the case is in court, so I can't talk so much about it and the legality or otherwise. I am not allowed the sub judice, but we're going to also try to bring a change to that judgment. Part of what we're going to open a desk for in the NBC is basically to listen. So complaints shouldn't be restricted to complaints against broadcast. It should be how to facilitate an enabling industry, basically, that allows people to thrive, businesses to thrive. So if it needs us to go have a meeting with the customs, if it needs us to have a meeting with any government agency, so much so that we're seen to drive that ease of doing business, where stakeholders can bring up an issue to us, we take it up as a responsibility to engage with the relevant industry. You know, the same way you want to register a business with CAC and they have to write to us when it has to do with media, you know, and we have to give a confirmation of sorts. The same thing we're going to enable across board to engage businesses and to have, we're basically going to be there to assist businesses in a nutshell.
And now talking business, importers in the country may be getting some relief as the central bank slashes the exchange rate for computing customs duties at the ports by 5.3%. Effective March the 4th, which was yesterday, the customs FX duty rate had dropped from 1,630 naira 50 kobo to $1 to 1,544 naira 8 kobo for clearing goods from the port. Importers are experiencing a lull at the port, with many citing unfavorable business conditions due to high import duties and fluctuating FX rates for duty calculations. Outside our shores, efforts by individual states to disqualify Donald Trump from running for president using an anti-insurrection constitutional clause has been struck down by the U.S. Supreme Court in a unanimous ruling in specifically targeting Colorado. It also overrides challenges brought in other states. Colorado had barred Mr. Trump from his Republican primary, arguing he incited the 2021 Capitol riot. The court ruled that only Congress, rather than the states, had the power to make such decisions, which now clears the way for Mr. Trump to compete in the Colorado primary scheduled for today. And talking sports, Flying Eagles head coach Issa Ladan Bosso has picked 20 players for the men's football event at the 13th African Games taking place in Ghana. The team includes 3 goalkeepers, 6 defenders, 5 midfielders, and 6 strikers. The Flying Eagles, who were runners-up in the last edition in Rabat, Morocco, will contend with Uganda, South Sudan, Senegal, and Tunisia in Group B of the men's football event starting on Thursday.